Hello everyone. So today I wanted to make a video going over my Dyson DC23 Motorhead Canister. I've had this for a little while. It was my daily driver for a little bit, and there's not really any videos of these on YouTube apart from a couple unboxing videos. But other than that, videos on these are fairly scant. You mostly see the turbine head versions, which are the much more common machine. These Motorheads in the DC23 are very uncommon machines, and these were introduced in 2009 and I believe sold up through about 2011, 2012-ish. Mine has a build date on it of 2012. And the reason I suspect these are very rare is not only were they not produced for very long, but I found some old pages in the Internet Archive of Dyson's website back in when these were being sold new, and these retailed for $599. So these were pretty pricey machines, one of Dyson's priciest machines at the time, if not their most expensive machine. And it's a shame that there's not too many out there, because this is quite a good machine. Of all the Dysons in my collection, it's my favorite for a few reasons. What I like about this machine is that it's a practical machine that has good power, pretty good suction. The motor head works very well. It's a very good cleaner. But in true Dyson quality of that time, you have a lot of quirks and a lot of weird things that are both good and bad. So I wanted to kind of take you through a tour of this and show you these quirks and features, as Doug DeMuro would say. So, without further ado, I figured I'd just start off with a pretty basic overview of this machine, and as well as some of the quirks and kind of odd and interesting things about this machine. Now, Vac Tech, which is another great vacuum-related YouTube channel, has a really good overview of the DC21 Motorhead Canister. And the two are actually quite similar. I believe they use the same hose, wand, and motor head, if not very similar. But this being a newer machine, Dyson did make some changes along the way. The most obvious being the cyclone assembly. It's different. You have Dyson's kind of more newer at the time root cyclone technology, where you have more of the cyclones in here. But other than that, it's pretty traditional Dyson bin, where you have it opens from the bottom when you hit this lever, and then you can take the whole bin assembly off. And that's pretty much it for that. And now this hose can come off, actually. So there's a tab here that allows this to come off, and then you have another tab that you press, and the hose just pops right off. And now, as you can see, the main body of this machine, it's a pretty compact machine despite it being one of Dyson's large canisters. So put that back on there, and we have your main power button right here, and obviously being a canister, you have a cord rewind. This does not have a one-touch cord rewind like a lot of Milas and Sebos and things like that have, but so I don't mind that so much. I'm kind of indifferent to it, so that's not a big deal to me, but some people it might be. Turn the machine around, you can see the tool storage on back. We have a dusting brush. It's very similar to the style of brush you would get on like DC07, DC14, DC17 upright, but unfortunately it does not swivel, so that's a bit of a drawback. Your crevice tool slides in here, and then your upholstery tool rides on here. And these are pretty typical tools of this era of Dyson, and these tools are specific to this machine. And this machine does use the later style of Dyson attachments. So if you have an older Dyson, like an 07, 14, 17, and I believe the 21, they all use different tools than this. However, you can buy adapters for these I believe they run on Amazon and eBay anywhere from $5 to $10. That will enable you to use the older style of attachments. So you have that. And then put the tools back in here. The crevice tool, I believe, goes this way. I don't know if it's universal, but this is the way I have it. And then your brush goes in here, and you're back in business. Now, the filter setup on this machine is a little bit peculiar. So you have this knob here that twist it, you open up the wheel, and you gain access to the pre-motor filter, which is typical Dyson cotton style washable filter. I believe they are specific to this machine, as I think most of these filters are. Now, the post-motor filter is quite a bit different. You have 2 screws here and then 2 screws here, and this kind of panel comes off, and that will gain you access to the post-motor filter. The cotton pre-motor filters are still readily available for cheap. The post-motor filters are a lot larger. They're the paper style, and they are getting harder to find. However, they are still out there. There are some sellers from the UK selling them, but unfortunately, because of that, with shipping, that's going to run you about $50 US. But they are out there if you do need one for this machine. One thing to note that I had with when I got my replacement post-motor filter is that the one I got, I actually found one new old stock at a local vacuum shop, comes with foam gaskets for the seals, and I find those to be fairly inadequate. So what I ended up doing was that the original filter in this machine actually comes with rubber gaskets that are not glued in, they're kind of just sandwiched in there, and I removed those and then removed the foam gaskets on the new filter and just put the rubber gaskets on the new filter, and that proved to make a good seal, and I was back in business there. So we just put this machine, put the hose back on here. It snaps back on just as easily as it comes off. You got the electrical plug, which is in the bottom. You line the two up. That, and then you click the holder back to the body, and then you just put it all back together, and there you go. One feature of this machine that I was not expecting to like as much as I did, thought I'd be more indifferent to it, but I actually really like it, is the stowaway feature. So you have these holders on the body for the hose, so you can just kind of wrap it around here, and then you have a tab on the body, a tab on the one, slides right in there, and you take your motor head and park it on the rear right here, and it becomes one compact unit that you can just pick up and haul away. And it is quite a bit hefty, of course, but it makes it very easy to carry, very easy to store, because you have the hose situated and you have the power head situated. So it's actually a very nice feature that I really didn't think I would think that much about. So one of the biggest quirks of this machine, in a very Dyson being Dyson kind of way, is the wand setup. Now this here is the wand stowed as small as it will go. It will not go any smaller than this, and you can't remove it. I mean, I'm sure you can if you take it apart, but it's not meant to be removed. So if you want to try to get in and vacuum small spaces, like say your car, for example, put the brush on here, this is what you're working with here. And frankly, it's not ideal, and it's one of those things where I really don't know why Dyson did it this way. If you look at any other canister vacuum with the power head, like for example my Miele C3 and my Phantom Lightning, you know, they have the typical, like, you could, when you take the nozzle out of the wand, it's very small, and the nozzle is removable and has all the electrical components in it. So why Dyson just couldn't do that is beyond me. Like I said, it's a very, Dyson having to do their own thing and be different, I guess. So it's just really strange, and one of the few aspects of this machine I really don't like. And the thing is, even with this wand being as big as it is, there's no like controls in the handle for like power on off and the brush roll on off. Why they couldn't at least do that is also beyond me, because the Dyson DC22 Motorhead, which was their smaller digital brushless motor canister, had the wand, a big wand like this, but they actually included the power switches for the main unit and for the brush roll, and even like a 2-speed control included that in the wand. Why they couldn't do that on this, especially with this being the bigger machine, is beyond me, because I think at least having the controls here would have made up for this a little bit, but they didn't. So it's just very quirky ergonomically, and again, one of the few things I'm not a huge fan of on this machine. That being said, on the plus side, the wand itself, it's a metal wand, it's pretty sturdy, so it's actually, the wand itself isn't bad. It's just one of these things where it's like, come on. It would be nicer if they could have something smaller, like you could have it down to about here or something, like any other Powerhead canister. But that's the way Dyson went with it, and that's just how they are. And I guess it's one thing that adds to kind of the interesting and odd and quirky aspects of this machine. So it is what it is. So now I wanted to go over the Powerhead a little bit and show you how really kind of a quirky setup this is, especially when you compare it to a typical Powerhead. I have a Powerhead from my Phantom Lightning, and I have a Miele SEB236 Powerhead from my C3. And as you can see just initially from the design, how very sort of kind of industrial looking it is. It's kind of typical Dyson design language of the time compared to the more kind of just smooth and traditional style of Powerhead that you would get on just about any other canister. So, and it has a ball in it, so you get good axis of rotation, and it rides very nice, very maneuverable, as any canister Powerhead should be. You get a brush roll here, and it's a fairly aggressive brush roll. I think this cleans very well, just as well as any of the other kind of top Dyson cleaning uprights like the DC17, the DC27, and the infamous DC28. Now, one drawback of this Powerhead is that, unlike a Powerhead from any other traditional canisters like my Miele and Phantom, is that it does not stay locked upright like both of these do. So that means you basically, your only really way of parking is on the back of the machine here, which in storage works very well, but if you're just vacuuming and you need to like stop and move, I find this to be a little bit of a cumbersome situation, and it's not one of my favorite things about this machine. I definitely tend to prefer a normal Powerhead setup where it'll just lock upright, but again, Dyson being Dyson, and it is, I am glad that you have at least something that will keep it upright. Another thing I'm not a huge fan of on this Powerhead, and this is true of pretty much any Dyson Motorhead canister, is that the switch to control the brush roll on and off is foot switch right here, whereas other canisters like my Phantom and my Miele have it on the handle, and I generally prefer canisters that have the switch on the handle. It's just nicer ergonomically, but this isn't terrible, and I'm not going to lose much sleep over it. But I would much prefer a traditional switch on the wand. Now, another drawback of this design, well, it does look pretty neat and unique, is that it's pretty tall for a canister power head, especially when you start to compare it to some of the others. It's not that much taller, but it is definitely sits up a little higher, so that is something to consider when you are sweeping under low objects and furniture. Alright, so we got it plugged in here, got it all set up. Just want to show you that the bin is empty. So we're going to do some cleaning in my bedroom here and see how it does. The camera on the tripod here. Sure that's where I want it to be. Alright. So you can see here it did a pretty nice job grooming the carpet. Like I said, this is one of the best cleaning Dysons you can buy, up there with the ranks of like the DC17, DC27, DC28, as well as the DC21 Motorhead is also an excellent cleaner. Now, the DC23 would go on to become the last large Dyson canister made with a powerhead or Motorhead. Apparently Dyson actually still makes Motorhead canisters, but they're the really small city machines, and I believe they're only sold in Japan and possibly certain European markets. And it's a shame they don't put the power heads on other machines, other newer canisters, because as much as I admittedly don't really like the newer ball canisters, like the big ball and whatnot, them having a power head would actually make them a little bit more appealing. Here's what it managed to pick up. Not too bad considering the small size of my room, and I didn't even vacuum the whole area. It's just this kind of small space by my desk and kind of the entryway. But overall, it's not bad at all. It's a very good cleaner. I've been very happy with its performance, considering it's a bagless canister from Dyson, no less. So while this machine's rarity and quirkiness gives it a lot of reasons to want to pick it up simply as a collector, which is one of the things about it appealed to me, the other big thing about this that appealed to me is the versatility of it, in that you get a large, fairly powerful Dyson canister vacuum that you couple with a power head, which is, as we know, very uncommon on Dyson canister vacuums, that gives you really good deep cleaning ability in carpet. But of course, on the flip side, you still retain the great straight suction ability that you would with a Dyson or any other canister as they are. So in my use case, the townhouse I currently live in, the upper floor with the bedrooms is all carpet. But the lower floors, like here in the kitchen as well as the living room, are all hardwood floor. So that was one of the things that appealed to me as an everyday use case for this machine, is that I can cover both bases, and cover both bases pretty well, especially when it comes to hard floors. You couple it with the excellent Dyson flat out hard floor tool, which is one of, if not the best hard floor tools Dyson has ever made. I quite like the earlier ones as well that they included on like the DC07, DC14, the low reach tool. But this is very comparable even to like offerings from higher end brands like Cibo and anything from Whistlework like the Gulper tool, which I believe this is actually seems to be based on. So in that you have this flat design, hence flat out floor tool, and you have your edge cleaning, and it's just a very solid tool for cleaning hard floors, especially once you couple it with this machine. These actually do come with their own hard floor tool. It's a more basic hard floor tool. Mine actually didn't come with it when I got it secondhand. I probably will end up finding one just to kind of have a whole complete unit. But this is really the hard floor tool to have. It's just has better cleaning ability. You have these nice rubber wheels. You have these wheels on the bottom, and it's just a much nicer tool. You're able to get in along low furniture and appliances. The only drawback is that they don't have parking. The included hard floor tools with these did. That's the only drawback, but I think having the cleaning ability that this offers more than makes up for it. And when you pair it with this machine, it makes for a frankly excellent hard floor cleaning team, as I shall now demonstrate. of the other aspects of this machine that's very nice and useful is that it's a very good stair cleaner. This actually has a bit of a stair hugger design incorporated into it, not unlike the Phantom Lightning, which as we know is basically just a rebadged Dyson DC02 with a power head. So this kind of carries on that design a little bit. So you got your normal upholstery slash stair tool, which works well enough. However, myself, and I know a lot of other vacuum users, much prefer the very good Dyson tangle-free turbine. Well, that was an overview of my Dyson DC23 Motorhead Canister. I definitely want to make more videos like this. I got some more ideas and more vacuums I want to talk about. So, but until next time, thank you for watching.